Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd. Now for tonight's sponsor, Vincini's inconceivably wonderful pies. Have you eaten others' pies like key lime, banana cream, or strawberry, and after felt dead inside like it was laced with iocane powder? Well, then come and taste Vincini's inconceivably wonderful pies, where we believe it is inconceivable that you will not like them, since they are made as you wish. Also found in your local freezer section.
Okay, is there pie in the Princess Bride that I just missed? Okay, just making sure.
This is Josh adding a little flair to something else.
Or maybe, yeah, you should have gone with mutton sandwich.
Mutton yeah, it's nice and lean.
Or the mutton's nice and lean.
We could easily change that.
An
But
MLT.
But it had to fit in with the Vincini. And all he had was
pies?
bread and cheese.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's Italian, so you could do that. Or Sicilian, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. So I wanted pie, so we had pie.
All right. Fair enough. We have pie.
It's always time for pie. All right. Today on the podcast, we are on the topic, as you might have guessed, of pirates. You probably guessed that one, right? And this week we are talking about my pick, the 1987 movie The Princess Bride, which has pirates in it. Directed by Rob Reiner. It tells the story of the farmhand Wesley, accompanied by the companions befriended along the way, who must rescue his true love, Princess Buttercup, from Prince Humperdinck. And this film essentially preserves the novel's narrative style and presenting the story as a book read by a grandfather, who is Peter Falk, and his grandson is Fred Savage. It also stars Carrie Elways, Robin Wright, Mandy Patinkin, Chris Sarandon, Wallace Shawn, Andre the Giant, and Christopher Guest. Let's talk about this movie, guys.
You gave away the entire plot of the movie
and stuff.
The whole, he's actually the.
Isn't that the point of this? Everybody should have watched it with us, right?
Spoiler alert! Wow.
Whoops! I did.
Well, if you didn't, I just did. So.
Oh, yeah. Good job, John. I was gonna say I didn't say Dread Pirate Roberts anywhere in there.
So,
what do you guys think about this movie? This has always been a favorite of mine ever since I was young. I know it's not exactly your typical pirate movie, even though it does have pirate stuff in it. I mean, Dread Pirate Roberts being the pirate.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's got pirate stuff.
It's got sailing. It's got. I don't understand why you don't think this is a typical pirate movie. I mean,
I don't know. I did. I didn't know if anybody else was not feeling the same way I did. I thought this felt the genre quite well.
I don't think this is a unique take on the genre to have this one be in the pirate category.
No, my favorite part of Princess Bride is and always has been Wallace Shawn. Always has been ever since. And I saw My Dinner with Andre before I saw The Princess Bride, which is fantastic. But yeah, and then seeing him in The Princess Bride, and I think that was probably the second thing I saw him in. I'm trying to think if I saw something else with him before, but he's a very prolific actor. He's in a lot of stuff. He does a lot of voices. I probably heard him as the voice of Rex in Toy Story first, actually. To be honest, I probably heard him there first, and then My Dinner with Andre, and then The Princess Bride. So he's always been my favorite.
And you didn't even say my favorite one of him. He plays the Grand Nagus in Deep Space Nine, and stuff, and he is excellent in it. Every episode he just eats up the screen. I
probably have forgotten more things that he's in than I've seen in the last month. Because he's in a lot of things, and he has one-offs in a lot of shows. I mean, he was in
Toy Story,
the TV series Eureka on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh yeah,
he's voiced things in
I loved
Adventure
him in that.
Time and obviously in Toy Story. He's been on BoJack Horseman. I mean, he played himself in BoJack Horseman, so that one was really easy to remember. But I mean, he's done a lot of voices in a lot of different places, so it's really easy to forget it. Like you scroll through his acting, and I don't think there's a year where he doesn't have some kind of role. That's how busy he's been.
Yeah, and I felt talking about him. Now we're kind of talking about him a little bit. Like I read when I was reading up on the Princess Bride, behind the scenes stuff and all that stuff. I felt bad when I found out that he felt less of himself doing this role. Um, he found out that they had originally looked for Danny DeVito to be the role of Vicini, and when he found that out, he started totally doubting himself, and he kept thinking the whole time that
he was just
how would
Danny
Danny
DeVito
DeVito
is
do
what he
this?
thought.
Yeah, exactly. And then they found out that he was feeling this way, and I guess the cast kind of came together and just kind of propped him up and was like, "Hey, you're doing a great job, man." Because he really does. I actually don't know if I mean, now that I know him in this part, I don't know. I can't have a hard time. I can see Danny DeVito in it, but not in the exact same way that Vicini was doing it.
So you're telling me we could have had twins before twins? Because
Yeah.
they were thinking about having
Arnold
instead of Andre the Giant.
for Fezzik, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they almost did it.
Very different movie.
In the what was it? They almost made this movie in the late 70s, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to be Fezzik until I don't know what happened. They said there was a lot of things happened with either the studios went bankrupt, or there's a lot of different things that happened. Like they tried to make this movie 3 times before.
No, with from what I hear, so they've been trying to make the movie forever. It was in development hell for long time.
Yeah.
And by the time they got around to actually doing the version that's on, on film now, was after Arnold basically became,
oh yeah,
a major name in Hollywood, and they couldn't afford him anymore.
Yeah, I read that as well, which is too bad because I think he would have been great. But what? Andre is so good in this.
I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't feel the same way as Arnold, especially coming from Conan. As well. It's like, oh, we got Conan, and okay,
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a lot harder to have that same relationship with Andre, or with Arnold.
Plus, Andre's bigger.
Like size wise,
he's just so much taller.
Well, he's like a literal giant. It's not just a body built, super big bodybuilder. It's like, no, this is supposed to be a literal giant, and Andre fits the bill pretty well. And then their forced perspective shots they did really good job with, and things like that. So I
wasn't he 7 foot or something like that?
Yeah, he's over 7. And Arnold's only quote unquote 6'2".
I wonder how many forced perspective shots they actually did with Andre or had to do.
Well, they actually are a lot of shots with doubles because Andre was hurt from wrestling, so he couldn't put any weight on his back. So when they're riding off on the horses, that's not him. That's a double. You can notice because his size is so you just imagine Andre the Giant on one of those horses, it would have been comical. But on the actual shot, it's obvious that it's not him because it's a regular guy in a suit.
Didn't they say that guy was a foot shorter than Andre?
Oh yeah,
his body double. Yeah.
They had a double in for the fight with
Carrie,
Carrie, and so they had Carrie on all the shots that are close up shots. They had him standing on a ramp, so he didn't have to put any pressure on Andre's back. And then all the shots of them they actually had a double in there with a bit of a suit on and a mask. And if you pause, you can actually see the mask when he's backing him up into the rocks.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I want to go pause that.
Okay, we'll wait. Yeah, we'll
I like cool stuff like that.
Josh comes back. You're right.
We pull up my Disney Plus and
you can.
And when he had to catch Buttercup, they only dropped her a foot, and he had a board behind him, propping him up so that it took all the pressure. because he would have been in agony.
Oh, I didn't even think
for
about
so
that
long
part.
up to that time that his back was just done for.
I mean, don't tall people already have a lot of? I mean, not always, but a lot of times they already have back problems and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, with his size and kind of his body makeup, yeah, and he was slammed on the mat night after night. So,
you know, it's one thing when I was reading about Andre the Giant, everybody just talks about how wonderful of a person he was, how nice and kind he was, like in real life. Like, I mean, I already feel like that or on screen, in his scenes, but they said he was just a genuinely nice person. Matter of fact, I read the story, and you guys might have read the same little fact that he hated the food so much for the cast that during his week off, he drove to France because most of this was filmed in England. He drove to France and brought them back all his favorite French foods so that they could eat them on the set and stuff, and just stuff like that. Also, I heard he could drink. A lot. Something they said like 2 bottles of cognac. He could drink 2 bottles of cognac and 6 bottles of wine, and that he would just barely be tipsy.
Yeah, he was a big dude.
I'm just like, oh my goodness. I mean, the body's not made to drink that much, man.
He also died at 46. No.
Oh, he was that young.
Was he that young? Because he died in 93.
Yeah, and I think he was 46. We'll put this in our show notes.
That is young. Wait. Right. It should have been in our
all these show notes that we have.
I've got a lot of personal show notes, but that one did not make it.
No, he was 47. Boy. 47 or 46, because I just did the math on the years. So he might have died before he turned 47. So actually, it looks like he did die before he turned 47. So he was 46 when he passed. Good job.
Hey,
Good job,
got
Crit.
that one right from memory.
Good job, man.
Yeah, 7 feet 4 inches and 520 pounds.
My goodness. Wow.
Big dude.
And that's too bad because, there are a lot of, I'm not surprised there would be more interest in him maybe after this because I thought he did this part well and stuff. Though I know I read again some of the notes of he didn't articulate his words very well and had a hard time sometimes expressing, his words very good. As a matter of fact, did you guys read about how Rob Reiner actually wrote, or he actually voiced all his lines to him on a recorder so that he could phonetically learn his lines and so that he could articulate them better and better. And which is what we got in the movie.
Well, I think when he's playing the On Fire Dread,
you can hear that a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
That speech is the rough. Yeah,
you will not really be
here. I remember as a kid, I couldn't really. Yeah, I couldn't really make out what he was saying like I can now. But when I was a kid watching it, I was like, I know he's menacing, but I don't know.
Maybe that makes it more terrifying.
I guess so. Yeah.
Did he have an accent already? I don't know where he's from.
France, yeah.
He's from France.
Pretty sure.
Oh, he is French.
He is French, yeah.
Yeah, he's from France.
I thought he just liked French food a lot. Yeah. Which is the reason why he drove back to France.
Yeah. That's why
all his favorite French foods. Probably why he hates English cooking.
French professional wrestler. I see now. Oh, that makes it even funnier. Okay. I hate this British food. I'm going to go to France and get
Can you blame him? I'm so sorry. Now we're going to be like... yeah.
Great. You just totally push away all the British listeners.
Maybe you can throw me under the bus and keep the podcast alive. And
it's all you, John. It's all you. I mean,
I have to insult we have cricket and soccer next, and then we're hosed. I get cricket.
Yeah, just kick it down. We're up to 65 subscribers at the moment, dude. Come on.
I get.
Don't take away those 65. We gained 4 in the last week.
All because of my sweet sultry voice, and now I'll drive them away.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, just the cast. Everyone in the cast is just phenomenal. Then you got Mike Myers in there, and or not Mike Myers, Billy Crystal. Jeez, sorry, I'm thinking Billy
Mark
Crystal.
Myers?
I don't know why I said Mike Myers. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Another SNL guy.
Well, that's where I was thinking. I was thinking SNL. Sorry. So Billy Crystal.
Well, and him and Carole King. I didn't say Carole King's name. She's amazing in it too. Even though her little stint, she's an amazing actress and stuff. I wish we could have seen more of her.
But Billy Crystal was a fantastic. And it was just such an utter surprise. Like, as a kid when I watched it, I didn't know who Billy Crystal was. He was just hilarious. And then as an adult, I'm like, hey, that's Billy Crystal. And then, just all the stuff he's done, and I think one of my all-time favorite roles is in what's that animated show with monsters? Monsters Inc. So I absolutely love it. Yeah, they have a series on Disney Plus now.
That new series is out. My kids,
I absolutely adore him in Monsters Inc. It's probably my favorite role he's done, and he's done a lot of fantastic stuff. So to pick that one out of all of them,
he does. I love City Slickers still. I thought that was a great one. The first one, not necessarily the second one. The first one,
the second one,
But the first one was great. I mean, he actually has done quite a few like really good. I mean, what's the one that he did with Meg Ryan that everybody quotes? I mean, When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, and then you've got he's not maybe not as big a name, or at least it wasn't for me because I didn't watch any of his stuff. But Christopher Guest, I saw him first in This Is Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Do you know who he's married to? That just shocked me. He is married to. Great, her name just went out of my head. The main lady from Halloween.
That doesn't help me.
The Scream Queen from Halloween. The movie Halloween, the horror movie.
Halloween 3, Curse of the Witch.
Oh, you're Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. I almost found it before you said it.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis. He's been married to Jamie Lee Curtis for a really long time, and I just found that out recently. She's had all of her children with him and everything. So yeah, pretty awesome. And stuff. I can't think of one other movie.
Spinal Tap.
I'm sure this is Spinal Tap, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch more I've seen with him in it. But I
think the only one I really see, he's in Spinal Tap. He's also in Night at the Museum. One of the Night at the Museums, not all of them. I think he's like in the second one. Yeah, Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest.
Oh, but wow. Yeah, no. The Spinal Tap is when I first saw him. So, and that's another fantastic show that we should get on the podcast one of these days.
Really? I've never seen it. I haven't. I know everybody.
Well,
talks
it's not.
About it, but
it's not the first mockumentary, is it? I mean, there's more that came before that.
It depends on when it.
I think it was like 87, 86 or something like that. I don't
know. I don't know the answer to that.
But yeah, no, it's fantastic, and the whole cast of Princess Bride, like I don't know how many, because obviously I was not alive or caring at the time. So I don't know how many of these at the time this came out were star-studded, but man, the cast now, you look back and you're like, holy crap, this cast is full of stars.
I think most of these guys weren't. They were really, really, really new back in '87. I think one of the people that might have been the better known of the group was probably Christopher Guest. I mean, that's the only one I can think of at that time. Everybody was just so new, and I mean, Robin Wright hadn't done much. This is one of her.
Anything.
I think this is her first, or if not, really close to her first. Maybe Fred Savage and Peter Falk was the two most notable ones.
Andre
the Giant. Yeah. I mean, he'd already established himself. Yeah,
But you look at like
Billy Crystal probably also.
Oh well. Was the thing with Billy Crystal? He sits under such a heavy mask that it's hard to.
Before or after The Wizard with Fred Savage? This was 87. The Wizard was 89. So this is before. Yeah,
I would have to say
this is before he even got bigger
from
The Wizard too.
What got bigger?
I don't know. The Wizard was awesome.
He's known for one thing. The Wizard
love
is
The
a
Wizard.
movie,
Yeah.
and he got that later on, but that's not what he's known for.
I love that entertainment of Nintendo so much, dude. You know, the advertisement of
the
Nintendo
best
so
movie.
much. It was amazing. I truly say that because I was infatuated with that movie for a long time because it had Super Mario Brothers 3 in it for the first time.
Well, and
A
the
video
whole idea
game
of,
tournament
like,
and
I still
gaming
get goosebumps.
tournament. Yeah.
Dude, I still get goosebumps like when I
And the power
see that
glove.
movie in that one scene where they're like Super Mario Brothers 3 and then they open up the screen and see, I'm getting chills right now. Stop it, Josh. Stop it.
Are you sure they're chills?
All right.
Because I mean, this could get R-rated really quick.
I don't know.
But yeah,
oh my! I was so excited for that game at that time. Oh my goodness. Anyways,
Back to this
you know, one of
movie.
the what's that?
Back to this movie.
Yeah, Cary Elwes. He has been in some of like my favorite movies. You know, I mean, he was in Glory. I mean, we've already done that movie with him, but he was in the first Saw. He was Robin Hood Men in Tights. Liar Liar, Twister. I mean, there's all these amazing movies, and I can go on and on. He's a great actor and stuff, and I think in my mind he should be like feel more up there than he does. You know, a bigger star than he. Sometimes I feel like he, you know, is.
And I mean, he's
kind of
still
advertised
working
as because he really does a great job.
He's still definitely.
Oh yeah,
definitely
without a
very
doubt,
busy.
he's still
I
working.
think the last thing I really saw him in was probably Psych. Yeah.
Was he in Psych?
He was
I love Psych.
in a few episodes of Psych.
Oh yeah, he's still kicking around. You always see him somewhere.
And Stranger Things. That's true. I forgot he was in Stranger Things as well.
Oh, I forgot that he was in that. Yeah,
I mean, he's.
true. And then,
Go ahead,
and then
sorry.
we can talk. What's that? Oh, I was gonna say. I couldn't think of anything else.
Well,
so
we haven't really talked about the movie.
Did you have another one?
All
for
we've
him?
talked about is the cast so far.
I don't care. That's okay. We'll talk about the movie in a second, but we can talk about, like, I love talking about all these great actors because I mean they really are great. This is what makes this movie great. Robin Wright, I mean, she's amazing. I mean, she was just in Blade Runner 2049. That's the last movie I saw her in. I thought she was excellent in that. That's just an excellent movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that
that's
was
the last one I
her.
can remember. Yeah.
Oh
She's
yeah,
the police one that's over him. Yeah.
Her death in that movie was brutal.
Oh, hardcore, man.
Yeah, I forgot that
and
she
stuff.
was in
She
that,
just plays.
so.
She plays such a strong. Oh, she's such a strong character in that movie. Just amazing. So that's one thing I wanted to point out about her. Just, you know, you see this part of it, and you can see that she can do a love story, and she acts really well, but she can also be super hard and just, you know, just amazing in doing that, strong. And yeah, anyway. But one other thing I wanted to point out, do you know who did the music?
It was probably Trent
that
Reznor.
One of you two?
I know. I'm making a joke there.
But that would be awesome.
Well,
since we've been watching The Watchmen.
I think we've done 2 or 3 movies now that have had Trent Reznor in some way. Yeah, you know, the documentary, and then the Social Network, and so I was like, oh, probably just Trent Reznor again.
Right.
You know.
No, nobody on this podcast. What are you talking about?
Crit at home, plotting out the lines. Like, okay, he'll do a reveal in like 6 months. Hi, you didn't know it. It's like the 6 degrees of bacon.
He's been plotting the whole time.
My giant whiteboard with red yarn strung
like
everywhere.
That Always Sunny in Philadelphia scene. Oh man.
No, yep. No, it's Mark Knopfler. Do you know who that is? He's the lead singer of Dire Straits and stuff like that, which I always thought was great. Like, he's not usually known, and that's why I'm bringing it up. He's not usually known for doing like movie theme stuff, you know, for doing the soundtracks for movies, and yet I think this one is a really well done one.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very effective in the movie.
I wonder if John even knows
I know
who
who Dire Straits is.
Do you know who Dire Straits is?
I've listened to music that was before my time. I mean, because that's not hard to do. I watch movies before my time. I've listened to music before my time.
All right. I guess I believe you.
I'm gonna.
No, I don't. No, I don't believe you.
Oh
You
man,
need to
I don't
sing
know
one
one
of
of
their
their songs
right
off the top of my head. I could probably sing one of Roxette's songs. It's from this. It's not from the same era, is it?
Dude, I love Walk of Life from them. I mean, that's one of my favorite songs. That's why maybe I drew to that a little bit harder. Of course, there are 2 hit songs that they have, Walk of Life and Money for Nothing. Money for Nothing and Chicks for
That's
Free,
horrible.
right?
And now we just lost our female audience. Way to go. Way to go, Josh.
Did we just lose our female?
We do not support the opinions held by this podcast member or from Dire Straits.
Actually, the name of that song is that one actually is called Sultans of Swing, by the way. Yeah. That's another song. Sorry, Sultans of Swing, Money for Nothing, and Walk of Life. Those are the 3 that are like awesome that they did.
I don't know. I'm not up on my Dire Straits trivia, so.
Well, that's as far as I go. I just said my three trivia answers, and I actually knew the guy's name. So I'm good now. I've got that off my chest.
I'm more of the Who fan, and they started in the 65, 66, and were big up until
back when the world was black and white.
The Who,
the Who, they were awesome. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the movie now. We talked about every actor.
Well, I think we're done. That's it. That's the movie. We don't need to talk about it.
We don't always do, but it just shows you how much we respect these actors and how much they mean to us, beyond just this movie, But this movie overall, I'll come out clean. One of the reasons I love this movie so much is Robin Wright is so hot in this movie. I just totally. Everybody else is gone now.
And your wife probably.
I just thought she was the most beautiful. My wife's fine. She knows where I come home. Too. Anyway, but that was one of the things. But that kind of sucked me in. But then you get into this movie and the way that it pans out, this kind of love story that I wasn't expecting, but then it's got so much action and suspense throughout the whole thing. So
you're basically Fred Savage's
sucks
character.
You in even more.
Where you're like, I would
say that's probably
and then you're sucked in and can't get away from it.
Oh yeah, when it got to the big rats, man, I was totally.
So
on board.
I'll say this about the movie and the story. I appreciate. I don't know if you've read the book, The Princess Bride, but holy crap, do I appreciate how well this sticks to the book and takes dialogue from the book. It does so well, and that I think that shows how well written the book is too.
Well, the screenplay is by the same.
I did. Yeah, I did not know that part. That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's true.
He'd actually had that. He actually bought the rights back once in the 70s because it was just stuck in development hell. To try to shop it around.
Do it justice.
Do it somewhere else and stuff like that. Yeah.
Matter of fact, there's a story I read that he came on site, and he came on site in the fire swamp scene where they light her dress on fire. And I guess they had to cut a scene completely out and redo it again because he started yelling, "Her dress is on fire!" and stuff. And he has no idea that it was all planned out and everything.
Right.
Well, I think again we just see the power of having the author of the book then be part of the screenplay, just like Douglas Adams in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie. Just the strength of this is my vision, and this is the vision that I was able to achieve in the book. How can I bring this into screenplay, and just being able to do that. They did a fantastic job with it. It felt so well done, and you don't leave it feeling like, oh, I got an abridged version of the book. You did, because obviously they can't fit everything, but it doesn't feel like you got an abridged version. It feels like you got a whole and complete story. And I think that just speaks to the skill of William Goldman.
It's funny you say that. I didn't even think about that. We might have an abridged version. I mean, I feel like this movie is a whole piece, I think I don't feel like there's something missing in the middle or whatever. I mean, I might feel that way if I read the book, but still it's, you do watch some movies and you do feel like, okay, my daughter wanted to watch Aragon. here the other day because she read the book, and she was just there was a lot of book movement missing from that movie. And you can feel it. And I've never read the book of Aragon, and still, so that's what I mean by that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, he did screenwriting for Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid and All the President's Men. There's a whole bunch of
two
other ones
wonderful
that he did
movies.
too. A Bridge Too Far.
Oh, wow. The same guy?
Yeah, same guy.
Wow. Those are all great movies.
The Stepford Wives.
Yeah,
the original or the remake?
The original, it looks like.
So I will bring up something from the abridged version or the differences in the book. And if you are a fan that does not want to be not disillusioned, but maybe a little, your world made a little more bleak, maybe you shouldn't listen to this next part. So we'll put a big disclaimer.
Oh, come on.
Don't listen to this part if you wish to stay happy. Well, then
what if
you
I
can
don't
mute
want to
yourself.
listen to it, John?
No, so what I want to bring up is the
You.
book's ending is a lot more bleak. It's a lot more bleak than the movies. So, for example, his cure wears off. And he goes, the wound that he just kind of shrugs off and jumps onto the horse is a big deal. And Humperdinck's men aren't like completely gone or out of the story, and they're actually being chased. So, and that's kind of the end of the book. So it's it
just ends like that.
Well, I think the really, really cool choice that the production crew made with this movie and adapting it, or the screenplay also adapting a story, is making it a story within a story. Right? It's a grandfather reading it to his young grandson. There's, let's just say that was in the
just
book.
Decided to leave it at a happier ending, and I'm appreciative they did, because I don't think there would be a lot of angry people after that movie. Like, what the crap? But yeah, no.
Well, they would have done it. They would have, if they'd have redone it now, they probably would have left it in there so they could have a really nice setup for number 2, which they'd have.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
they would have made number 2 into 2 parts too.
Yeah.
So we would have a trilogy.
Yeah,
it's like The Hobbit all over again.
Yeah, probably
directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man,
I doubt it.
I like it.
Yeah, no,
they were kind of like rode off into the distance. I think it was a perfect. I think if you would have done that, it would almost been like a really crazy tone shift, going from like kind of the uplifting kind of movie overall, and then to have something so bleak at the end to be added like that. I don't know. It feels like it would almost, even though it is part of the book, it almost feels.
I
like
wonder if we
almost
can,
had a place
with
in the
the technology of deep fake, build that ending. Oh, we would be lynched.
What people like.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know if it's like any real artistic merit in that, but like I don't know. It's an interesting problem.
Yeah.
Because nowadays we'd want it to, back then it feels like that was very influenced by
we want a happily ever after.
It's like the whole thing. Yeah, happily ever after, and it's packaged up and it's done, right? Like there's no, there's nothing really you could do. You could try to tell another story in the same universe, but you couldn't, really continue that story for the most part.
But now it'd be grittier and
Yeah, well, they'd tack at the very least, they'd tack a Shane ending.
Come back, Shane.
Where, Inigo Montoya would slump in the saddle and stuff like that, and everybody be arguing about whether or not he
back, Shane. Oh, ever burned in my memory. The book's even worse on that one too.
You say that kind of stuff, and I could just see the top spinning at the very end of Inception.
Right?
You start saying that.
Yeah, this would be more of the old Yeller. Here's this dog that you've come to love. Here's the story that you've come to love. Bam, it's gone. Yeah. And we didn't pull away the shot when we did this either. You got to see everything. It's brutal. But no, I appreciate it. But it's just some of those things, like you come back and learn a little bit more, and you're like, That's interesting, and I'm appreciative of the happy ending. I mean, I can share this with my kid. I can, like, it's
I think
kind of
so.
like a hopeful film, and it's nice. Like, you feel happy, like, and there's hope between the grandfather and the kid too. You're like, oh, hey, that it is possible to connect with the younger generation, and it is possible to be able to do that.
You're proving what I said right there. The tone would be so different. You wouldn't get that from if they had done it the other way. You wouldn't get the hopeful that true love persists. That it's you can overcome anything with true love, like they do through the whole thing, or that the grandfather and the grandson, are like on a cool level now. Like they can.
I've seen protagonists in current day movies have less character growth than the kid does.
Oh yeah, very true.
Yeah. It is unbelievable on how kind of pissy he is at the very beginning, and then how much he's just like I really like spending time with my grandparents. I mean, I've even felt that way, with my own grandparents in the past. Like, I don't have anything in common with them, and then walked away like, these guys rock.
His pissiness in in the very beginning of that one reminds me of him in Vice Versa, which is just a little bit later. Like, just the general, like, I'm a pissy kid that does what I want, kind of deal. That's what it reminds me of that one.
Wasn't that kind of Fred Savage in those days anyway? I mean, you even look at the Wonder Years, and he was always a little bit like grumpy about what was going on and stuff like that. How he's had kind of a little bit of a chip on his shoulder about
pick the teenager
situation.
angst and just drive it into your performance. That's what we want.
Right.
Well, and then all the Hollywood crap.
Exactly.
We won't get into that in the podcast, but there's it's obvious. Like, he was an angsty teen, I'm sure, and maybe not. Maybe he's just that good of an actor, because there's definite skill there.
Well, I think there might be something to that, because you don't get these all the parts by being super unworkable as a kid, because people hate working with kids in Hollywood. It's what's that whole rule? No kids and animals. Like, you just don't want to work with them. It makes the movie making process that much harder. And my guess is that he plays the character that's given to him pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think overall, though, he's just a good actor. I mean, you see him in I mean, it's even in the later years, and it is.
Yeah,
but it's still like makes a big difference in the movie.
Yeah,
it's a big part of it.
Well, I think I like it as a framing device for the story within the story. I like that framing device because it gives. The really cool thing is it gives like an obvious perspective to latch onto. Like, if they just showed the movie straight up without the grandfather and the son, right? You would have to like be like, okay, this is really campy fantasy. What am I watching and why? But like, just having it couched within this idea of this grandfather telling the story to his grandson on screen, you're like, oh, well, okay, that's why this is all campy and stuff like that, because that gives you kind of a foundation to work from, and then later on in the movie, you kind of let go of it and you just go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that a lot and stuff. But it's good enough that makes me, I don't know. Even though there's not a lot of it, it still, makes me reminds me of the time of my grandparents, and which is probably why I do like that interchange.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a nice feeling and stuff. But yeah, that's great. There's so much in this movie that I just absolutely love. I mean, I love those scenes. I mean, I love all of the the sword fighting scenes. I mean, they did a wonderful job with those. I mean, neither of them knew how to sword fight, and yet, it doesn't look horrible like I've seen in other shows. like that Lord of the Rings thing that you were showing me the other day about the Lord of the Rings cartoon, where it looked like they were like theater fighting. I mean, this didn't totally feel that way.
Well, that's because they used was it Errol Flynn or the guy that basically did all of the 60s sword
Errol
fighting.
Flynn.
Yeah, he did all the sword fighting. He did the sword fighting for this one.
What? Like, he did all of the choreography and stuff?
He did the choreography, yeah.
I did not know that. That is... And I know that they practiced it a lot, and so they got really good at it.
Yeah, because they had the actual actors in screen with a locked off camera showing action. This again, if it was filmed now, I feel like they would do close ups and reverse shots, and you'd never really get to see the full fluid motion of everything.
But that's what makes this. I mean, and we've talked about this a lot of times with like Jackie Chan movies and things like that, on how that's why this movie is awesome, and that's why Jackie Chan's movies where they're not cutting away are so amazing, because they're showing everything, and you have to do it.
Well, and in this movie too, they have doubles in there, like the whole guy that's doing the spin on
flips.
The flips and stuff like that. He's like a totally different body makeup than Carrie. So it's really obvious if you look at it and go, but it's such a quick thing that you're just like, oh, he's doing the circle over the bar, and it's just like and dismounts, and you're like, okay, that's cool, and you just kind of move on. It's kind of
the dismounts are funny, by the way, because I just noticed watching this time, and I've seen it a million times, that the ground flexes.
You can see the pad, you totally see the pad.
It's awesome.
Well, it's fine, and it's fine.
It is. It totally is.
I think that, like, if we were more popular, or a lot of other criticism the last 10 years has been really popular and stuff like that, is that it's made film. It seems like it would make, I don't know if it has, but it seems like it would make filmmakers so incredibly conscious about those types of choices that it kind of ruins movies. Maybe like it makes them less entertaining because they're spending so much time to make sure nobody's got any gotchas, and that you can't see the pads and stuff like that. And I'm like, I mean, spend your time where it makes the movie better.
Agreed. Look, you brought up Errol Flynn. I mean, if you've seen his movies, there's tons of that kind of stuff in the movie. Yeah. But does that take away from the awesomeness of like the sword fighting scenes that he does and stuff? No, it's if the subject and the topic and what the action that's going on in camera is amazing and the story is amazing, nobody gives a crap, man. I know that a lot of people do YouTube videos about like, hey, what can you see in camera? You can see a Starbucks cup like you did in Game of Thrones and things like that. Who cares if the really story's good?
Matter. Yeah, it's creating extra entertainment on the top of the movie for likes and clicks and all this stuff like that. But it's not really. It doesn't really take away from the show.
No, I mean, there's so much the interchange between them. That is what is magic in that scene.
That's what you're there for.
You're there for that, like the whole like like my clue last week of I can we can do this with my left hand. Oh yeah, I'm not left-handed, I'm right-handed. I mean, just that little like switch up between the two, and then he like later he's like, I'm also right-handed. That's just so much fun, and that's what makes that whole scene like just pop.
Well, or like they're quoting fencing styles at each other, so that they're also fencing with their mind while they're also fencing with their body and stuff like that. It's just and the confidence in both of them.
I love that. It felt like they're playing chess in a way. Like, exactly. You hear people talk about defenses and offenses and stuff like that. Same thing there.
Yep.
Again, just awesome. Well, that nullifies that, right? I mean,
exactly.
Oh man. It's just so amazing. And then the whole part right before that, at the very beginning, he's like, "Hey, can you hurry it up here? I'm waiting to kill you," and stuff. And then he finally gets up. That's really nice of you. The whole interchange, like, "I'll let you rest before I kill you."
Yeah, Inigo has always been my favorite character in this story.
Undoubtedly, me too.
For me, easily. I love Patinkin's like just approach with it all and everything else. Like, it was great. It was great.
I love, if I had to pick a second character I just really like, would be, Carrie Elway's, character, and then and along with Robin Wright. I mean, I feel like they come as kind of a pair, but
well, no, if you just name them all the characters as your favorite, I mean,
no, they're like my second favorite. Like, if I had to pick a favorite though,
ranking our favorites.
Yeah.
All right, JHoN,
I just like
next. What's your top 3?
He's just such a, he fits. It's like funny how he doesn't even look that, the way that he was then. But yeah, he just pulled it off so well. That swashbuckling, like, character just so fantastically, and he just fit the role so well. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I thought it was amazing, and I always kind of looked around to see if my parents were there when he was like, "You son of a bitch" at the end when he stabbed him, because he was just like, I was like, am I allowed to watch this?
So naughty.
So naughty, and it was great. And I'm like, that's a badass. Wait, I can't say ass.
Did you hear me? What?
He played a badass, and it was great.
Sorry, I had a cough. No, he did. And then you get that wonderful Wallace Shawn scene right after that. I mean, oh no, you get it's Andre the Giant scene first, I guess, which is fun. That's like we talked about earlier. That's a fun interchange. But then the Wallace Shawn one, I mean, I just love. My favorite part of that whole scene is where he's laughing and dies. You know, I fooled you.
Yeah.
Clunk. And then the part where he's talking about Australia.
Yeah.
He's like, what was I talking about? Australia. Oh yeah, Australia.
Well, it's because he like totally complimented his intellect right before this, so it got him off track, and his intellect couldn't keep up with where he was in the conversation. That's what
exactly
makes it super ironic.
Oh, I could just go on and on about some of these scenes. They're just so amazing. They're so, I mean, from that point on, I mean, you get the inconceivable, from all of the movie up to there from Wallace Shawn. And I was reading an article about him with the inconceivable thing. This article was saying how Wallace Shawn actually had it worse than anybody else from this movie, because everything that around him was inconceivable. Like one time, I guess somebody dropped some keys around him, and they're like, dropping those keys is inconceivable, and he would just start to, he started to get old for him after a while. Let's say that. Which I can rightfully see that. Yeah. But it's one of the best taglines, I mean, I remember saying it when I was younger a lot, too much.
Right. This whole movie is so quotable. That's what makes it great. It's again the writing and the writing and the performance. I don't think the writing works, but I don't think it works as well without the performance. So, which we've already gushed on.
We have
at length. Yeah.
Well, what's unbelievable about this is you say that, and yet, did you see how much it grossed? Like at the box office when it was there?
Well,
it only grossed $30 million.
Well, that's because it's an original IP. People don't come out for original IPs as much as they do sequels, even then.
I mean, it didn't lose money. It doubled its budget. I mean, 16 million was its budget, and 30 million was what it raked in. So it made money, just not a lot of money. And you're right.
If you're
right about original IPs.
Yeah, if you're looking at this on, back then it would have been a movie poster, right?
Like,
yeah. I mean, who knows if you are going to like that or not? It looks like a rom-com, or maybe a romance, or maybe a straight up period piece romance.
I mean, this is definitely not a movie I would have looked at that age. I mean, I was 10 years old when it came out.
Yeah.
And but this is just like a lot of people, found this. I found this on the VHS market.
Yep.
I mean, I found it renting it from my local video store. When
we wore out our tape of it.
Did you?
Sure.
That's awesome. We watched it quite a bit as well. I can't remember if we actually had the tape though.
No, I'm just kidding.
The only one that I can remember that we wore out was Dirty Dancing with my sister and Annie. Those are the two that my family wore out of videotapes.
By we, I mean me.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah,
you did.
Tremors and Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I think for Reba McEntire.
Oh, I might have personally wore out when I got Empire on VHS. I
was fixing to say.
Well, that was my sister doing that. The one I probably wore out the most was when I got the widescreen edition, my special order widescreen edition of Empire Strikes Back and stuff. No, I only, when you guys watched Ice Pirates with me, that was the first time I'd ever seen that since I was like, I don't know, 15 years old. Yeah, I was pretty young when I'd watched it originally. That's the first time. I own it now, but that was the first time I had actually bought it for real, even though I bought it only digitally. So you guys got to experience it for the first time with me. since I'd seen it when I was a kid. You're welcome.
And what an experience.
Yes, I know that you guys did it, but I was so appreciative of you guys coming over and watching Ice Pirates with me after my surgery. So it's still a fun memory. I know that it's like I feel like it's like we're all watching it. Even my kids like look back on it like, oh, that was bad, Dad. I'm like, I know it's a nostalgic thing for me, but I was appreciative of everybody coming and supporting me with my Ice Pirates.
So do we have much more we want to talk on?
No, I'm pretty done.
No, I'm good.
Unless you guys had any more. What's that?
I'm good.
I am good as well. Let's go to our ratings.
The first time I watched this
John,
was
you wanna
with
go
my
first?
mom. So yeah, I'd watch it with my mom.
Right on. It's like that's a glowing rating and stuff. I will go next, and I am gonna give this a 9 out of 10 Miracle Max pills.
Suppositories.
And I actually already do own it. Yeah.
Chocolate suppositories.
Was that in the book?
No.
Was it different in the book?
No.
Chocolate coating still?
It makes it. What is he saying? Oh, man. Anyways.
Makes it go down.
The chocolate makes it go down easier. All right, Kurt, what's your rating, my friend?
Mine is 42 out of 60 men at the gate.
Well
Very
done.
nice and stuff. Who's planning the break-in? Oh, that's wonderful movies. I think we all genuinely like these movies. And I'm glad we watched it. You know, like I said, you could tell I was a little iffy on if you guys would consider it a pirate movie, but I am glad that we did this one because it has very much has aspects of a pirate movie, and I enjoy this very, very much. So, so let's go on to our picks
should be me,
for
right?
next week, guys.
Okay.
Yes. And then maybe we can talk about next month. So I have a suggestion for next month. So
yeah,
I know it's not
I've already picked next month.
But
so. Oh yeah. Yep.
Have you? Okay, then we need to talk about something else. Talk about something too. So okay, unless it lines up with what I'm thinking that you might have.
Okay.
Picked. So, anyways, I have a feeling. Anyways, go for it, dude.
Pirates with guns. Pirates with lasers. Pirates with wires. So pirates with guns, pirates with lasers, and pirates with wires.
With wires. Okay.
Okay. So I think I know what number 3 is.
Dang it. I don't know any of these.
Did I? Oh, yeah. Yep.
No. Yeah, you did. Number 2, I have a suspicion.
Is there anything that you're feeling? I'm kind of in the.
If we could pick number 3, then we can get it out of the way because we're going to do it sooner or later. And I know that's what he wants us to pick.
I'm good. No, I'm good with all these picks. Actually, any of these 3 would be fantastic.
So. Yeah.
I'm going to go off what you pick this week, Crit. I'll agree with what you go with this week.
All right.
Because I am kind of indifferent this week.
All right. So, well, I mean,
I did them sparse on purpose.
So
yeah.
I'm sure.
Do you want to go with 3?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with
so
3.
pirates with guns. That's actually Captain Phillips. It's fantastic.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
Pirates with lasers.
Wow.
Treasure Planet.
Oh, I almost picked that one myself.
That what you thought
That's
it was,
a good
Crit?
movie. Anyways.
No, I thought it was going to be on Star Wars or something like that.
Treasure Planet.
Something,
and Pirates with Wires. Crit got it immediately. Muppet Treasure Island.
Okay.
Right. Muppet Treasure Island with Tim Curry and the cast of the Muppets and like everyone awesome. It's amazing. So I think we'll have.
I can't wait to see it. I am
poor
unsure
Crit's going to be
seen
subjected to basically a musical though. So.
Yep. Yeah, I knew it was coming.
I give you permission to skip the Tim Hawkins song in the whatever his song is.
No, I'm not skipping anything. so that you can hear my real thoughts on it.
Here.
'Cause if I have to listen to it,
falsetto
then you have to listen
suck.
to me.
Oh man.
You chose.
Yep. No, I'm excited for it.
And then you said you already have the genre
I already
for
have
next
the genre
month,
for next month.
so that Crit can pick for next week.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
nice.
do you want me to give you?
Yeah, let's do it. No,
Okay,
I'm glad you did
I
it.
can give you the genre.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I was hoping you
Yep.
did. I forgot to
Okay.
prompt you for it, but so that Crit can we can make picks for the next one.
So the
next
genre
week for
this
crits.
month is a little off the wall, but it gives you a lot of leg room, I think. You must find movies that remind you of another podcast member.
Oh my God.
All right. I don't know if that's a genre, but it certainly is something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not necessarily a genre, but I figured it's enough to pick movies with, and there's probably a bunch of movies you can find, and it'll be fun to see what the picks are.
Oh, crap.
At least we have a few weeks to work on this one.
Could be psychoanalyzing each other's movie picks.
I picked you in this one because the guy had hair and you had hair, and that worked.
This guy had a goatee.
This is Nicolas Cage and bees.
You look like the Chicken Man.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out our other nerdy videos.